More truth telling about the relationship between JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. I am back for a part two. If you missed part one, you can go back and watch it here, Los Angeles Magazine videos. You're not missing too much, but you will miss some really juicy details that I have obtained through research and most recently, Maureen Callahan's book, Ask Not: The Kennedys and the Women They Destroyed. It's so good, you guys. Run, don't walk to pick up that book. But I want to tell you just some nuanced information and things that I have picked up on while reading the book and concurrently watching the show on FX by Ryan Murphy, Love Story, JFK Jr., and Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. Okay, so a couple things that I didn't get to in the first video, just about Carolyn and the way that she behaved around JFK Jr. when first meeting him. You know, she's described in the show as being very standoffish, very elusive, very hard to get. Well, it turns out that per her friends, her very good friends, she did in fact have a copy of the People magazine cover where JFK Jr. was the sexiest man alive. She kept that under her bed. So she definitely was a little bit less cool, on the inside than she was kind of playing on the outside. And also, it was reported in Maureen's book that when Carolyn would play hard to get with JFK Jr., she would say no, she has all these plans for the weekend. She would really just be in her apartment, just inside, not going out, holed up. And I think the words actually were holed up in her shitty apartment. But yeah, I mean, she just wanted to project this image of being this, this really busy career woman that really just didn't care about John, when on the inside, she did. A little more about John, just to break away for a minute. He had a really great relationship with the paparazzi. And of course, no one loves the paparazzi, right? No one could possibly love the constant attention, although some people believe that John did. I mean, again, he had relationships with the paparazzi. Like he would tell them certain things. He would make deals with them. So, I think that it sort of gets overstated how much he detested them. Because you read both sides, I guess. Like, oh, they were relentless. They wouldn't leave him alone, which is true. Totally true. And I'm sure he's a human being, right? Like on certain days, you're like, okay, this is fine. This is my life. And then one day you're having a horrible day. You wake up on the wrong side of the bed. You're stressed and you're like not having it. I just think that John may have enjoyed the media attention more so than the show wants us to believe, more so than pop culture wants us to believe, because he did spend most of his time riding around shirtless on a bicycle, in New York City, and he would constantly be in Central Park and different parks playing games, shirtless again. And reportedly, he was a really bad athlete, and he just liked the attention of being photographed and filmed with his shirt off. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Oh, and in Maureen's book, and actually, I think she may have said this on a podcast as well, which I found to be crazy, but men had reported that in the locker room at the gym, JFK would walk around naked and somehow like inspect his junk, like actually hold it and look at it. I mean, that's strange, because like that's not your room, and that's not it's not private. Like that's a public place, so to speak. So yeah, very, very, very interesting. And then, I want to get to the plane crash for a minute. I touched upon this briefly yesterday about how the show sort of makes it seem like, Carolyn had to get her nails done and she was late in meeting her sister Lauren and John to take off to go to Martha's Vineyard for this wedding. And by the way, her sister Lauren was actually seeing Bobby Shriver at the time. That's Shriver, Maria Shriver. I always think of Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife. they were a Kennedy cousin, basically. So Lauren was dating Bobby Shriver, so she was excited to go. So anyway, so when they get there, they make it seem on the show like it was Carolyn's fault because it was dark and it got really hazy and that's why they crashed. Well, obviously it was John's fault. He really had no business flying alone without an instructor there, excuse me. And they do say that on the show. This is really, I mean, this is the truth. He needed an instructor. He shouldn't have been flying. He wasn't ready. And he also was just getting over a broken foot. So, there's that as well. But reportedly, this crash could have been a lot worse, meaning he apparently narrowly missed a commercial flight that was landing in JFK when he was in the air and lost control. I mean, it could have been awful. He could have killed so many people. And I mean, that is crazy to think about. Like, your arrogance and your narcissism honestly could have cost a lot of people. And obviously it did cost people. So I think a lot of people also have expressed frustration over Carolyn's sister, Lauren, just not really being mentioned a lot with this crash. I mean, obviously, she wasn't as in the spotlight as much as they were, clearly. But yeah, I think there was a lot of frustration. And Lauren was a twin. And I think, again, people sometimes forget that the Bessettes lost two of their daughters. I mean, really, two children. Their mother was reportedly inconsolable, and it's horrible, but it was reported that the Kennedys were awful to the Bessette family. I mean, awful, awful, awful. And I guess that they didn't know if they were going to get Carolyn's remains back to be able to bury her with her family, because the Kennedys, obviously, she was technically a Kennedy at that time. And apparently the Bessettes finally got a note, and it was just like, oh yeah, fine. You can have Carolyn, you can do whatever you want with her. And it was just like, oh, okay, thank you so much. And it was so bad, apparently, that even RFK Jr. wrote about this in his diary, that the way they treated the Bessettes was just not okay at all. Back to Carolyn and just sort of her being a little bit sneaky when it came to John and snagging a husband in New York City. If you live in New York City, you will know it is quite the rat race. There are many more women in the city than men. And when Carolyn was dressing just glamorous women in the showroom at Calvin Klein, she would, once she would play it all cool, she would dress them, whatever. And then once they would leave, she would turn to her coworkers and be like, how do you think she met her husband? How do you think she got her money? Like, what do you think she did? She was trying to really understand these women and almost learn from them, which again, I thought was very interesting. Okay, so I want to read another segment from the book, from Maureen's book, Ask Not, just because I just think it ties everything together. And again, it's super interesting. So, okay. Oh, and this will sort of add to my, well, you'll see. All right. Quote, being John's exclusive girlfriend when it finally happened was a full-time job. Once they got serious, Carolyn began transforming herself from a downtown hipster with unwashed, dirty blonde hair and an extra 15 pounds to a sleek Upper East Side white blonde ice queen. She treated herself like an art project, a sculpture defined by removal, the weight, the small lines erased with Botox. Her face grew hard and angular with hollows under her cheekbones. Her once unruly hair was heated and ironed straight, her scalp constantly scorched and pulsating under the bleach. The burns cooled into hard, raised scabs underneath that platinum mane. Her thick eyebrows were plucked into wisps, and that so-called effortless style was full of suffering. Gone were the days of showing up to the Calvin Klein office hungover, wearing dirty clothes and cheap Egyptian musk bought off the street. Now she secretly took bar classes at Lottie Burke on the Upper East Side, even though she hated exercise, just hated it. Cigarettes and cocaine helped kill her hunger. She studied John and kept the People magazine issue from 1988, John on the cover with the headline, Sexiest Man Alive, stashed under her kitchen sink. Sorry, I said bed. When her friends saw paparazzi pics of Carolyn in a kayak paddling alongside a shirtless John in the Hudson River, they laughed so hard they cried. Carolyn's natural habitat was the bar at Rex, a banquet at Odeon, and the Barney's warehouse sale. Kayaking? Wow, did she want this? I thought that was super interesting. So it wasn't all effortless as they want to make us believe. So ladies out there, everything is an effort. Do not believe the whole, Hollywood glossy, she just kind of like threw her hair like this and that was that. She just won John F. Kennedy Jr. over. No, it was not that easy. She did not just flip her hair. So just saying. Okay. And so I'm just going to read you the last line here in Ask Not from this one chapter in particular, which is obviously about Carolyn. But it's just, it's interesting. And I kind of have said this already, but quote, Carolyn could be in a room full of supermodels and still make John Kennedy want her. And when he finally came around and asked her out, she'd just as often say no and that she had other plans. But really, Carolyn never had anything better to do. She'd just hole up in her crappy studio apartment all weekend, hoping that people would assume she had this fabulous, mysterious life full of wealthy suitors. She'd say loudly she was not waiting around for JFK Jr. to call, but really, she was waiting around for JFK Jr. to call. As they grew closer, she would insult him just to keep him back on his heels, off kilter, but quietly, she would marvel at his beauty. She wanted him so badly, but more than anything, she wanted to be Mrs. John F. Kennedy Jr. Okay, so they said crappy, not shitty. But yeah, so I have not been able to put this book down. I'm actually on the chapter that focuses on Joan Kennedy or Joan Bennett Kennedy, which is Ted Kennedy's wife. And she has quite the story. I mean, talk about just like sadness. I mean, she's another one, just had to deal with her husband's infidelities. That had to look the other way and be okay with it. So of course, she's self-medicated with alcohol. And it's sad to read, but the breaking point for her was Chappaquiddick when Ted left 28-year-old Mary Jo Capichne. I think that's how you say it, Capichne. I'm so bad at that. But this amazing young woman with such a bright future who worked with Bobby Kennedy. She was Bobby's second hand before he was assassinated. He left her. He left her to die after his car, went off the bridge, submerged in low water, by the way. I think it was like 5 feet of water, 4 feet, something like that. The medical examiner said that she was alive for an hour. He could have saved her. He left because he thought that it would be a scandal. It would, ruin him. He walked past payphones, walked past homes, got back to his hotel. He actually made a call to have the people next door keep it down because they were being loud. And then he called 17 people in his orbit that were fixers. So, it's awful. I should do another episode on that. But I mean, it's infuriating. But yeah, so that was said to be when Joan Kennedy really snapped. So, okay, so I will do a part 3 on the Kennedys. Maybe not tomorrow because there's a lot of different cases going on right now and a lot of different crimes happening that I need to talk to you guys about. So anyway, don't go anywhere. Like, subscribe to Los Angeles Magazine. Join us here. I'll be back tomorrow again with another episode, but don't worry, the Kennedys will be back. I'm Lauren Conlin. Thanks for listening.